When you like Ventura TV Appliance on Facebook, it's nice. But when you love the Samsung big screen we deliver, it's even better. Our website is cool, and it's a good place to start. But you really should touch the merchandise before you buy. Time for that upgrade to an HD 3D web-enabled Samsung TV. Get the best selection, price, and service in town without waiting. Come in to Ventura TV Appliance and touch the merchandise today.
Hi, I'm John Mallos. Welcome to this live edition of Connect with Me on the showroom floor at Ventura TV on this day. Today we're talking about the focus on business. A business that's been around for 20 years. It is a non-profit, a 501c3 that's trying to help you, the consumer, you, the resident of Fresno. We'll tell you all about it. We've got two guests in the house today. You can call in. This is a show where you can vent. 436-ME-TV, option 11. Back in a moment. And welcome back to the program here on Connect with Me. You're watching us live on Comcast channel 187 and 43.6. And now, of course, you're watching us live on 13.1. That is also Me TV. Today's program is the focus on business, and this business has been around 20 years. Here's the problem, though. You don't hear much about this business. There isn't much publicity about this 501c3. It is a nonprofit group. There's only about 1,000 or so members. Maybe that's why you don't hear so much about it. But are you one of those people who might be disillusioned at this point about what's going on in Fresno? Are you a disgruntled resident? Are you fed up with politics as usual at City Hall? Are you fed up with the baseball team? Are you fed up with the baseball stadium? Are you fed up with downtown? Are you just fed up in general? Well, we have a show for you today, because this is a show, even though it's the focus on business, we'll talk about it. It'll give you a chance to vent. I want to put up a picture of the Fulton Mall and explain what's going on. Let's start with that Fulton Mall. The council and mayor in favor of tearing this mall out and putting it back to its original state, having cars drive through and encouraging businesses to build their fortunes around it. Many at City Hall and others around the city believe this move will help revitalize downtown to the tune of $19 million of federal money. But according to our guy here at Connect with Me, Doug Vagum, there's about $20 million or so, maybe more, of city earmarks, bringing the total cost to $43 million. That means that about $23 million of that is city money. Will also be used, but you don't hear much about that. It's not reported that much in the media. Let's roll the videotape on what Fulton Mall used to look like and the tearing up of Fulton Mall. This is 16-millimeter color film from back in the 60s when they tore it up and brought it to its present state. One organization here in town that is totally opposed to the new project is 1,000 Friends of Fresno. They have been around for 20 years. We'll explain what they do. They will explain exactly what it is their purpose of existence is in this day and age. They've been around 20, as I said. In fact, the Downtown Fresno Coalition, a group that is associated with the 1,000 Friends of Fresno, filed a lawsuit recently in Fresno County Superior Court challenging the City Council's certification of the environmental impact report that goes along with the redoing of the Fulton Mall. Live in our studio right now is Linda Zachritz, the attorney for that coalition, and Bob Dwyer. He is the chairman of the 1,000 Friends of Fresno. As I said, this is a focus on business. The 1,000 Friends of Fresno has been around for 20 years. It is a 501c3 nonprofit. They'll explain in detail what the organization is about, what the purpose is, what is the mission statement. We're back with your phone calls, 436-ME-TV, option 11. Everything is on the table today. They'll explain 1,000 Friends of Fresno, and we're back in just a moment.
Tough lifestyle. Tough drama. Tough reality. Tough talk. Tough specials. Tough movies. Tough TV. Are you tough enough?
And back here in our studios, connect with me on the showroom floor at Ventura TV on this day. And we've got 1,000 Friends of Fresno in here. We got Linda Zachritz, right? Zachritz?
Yes,
Is that right?
That's
Zachritz.
Right.
Okay, you are an attorney, and Bob Dwyer, the chairman of 1,000 Friends of Fresno. Now, you are an attorney not for the coalition, as I said, but for who? Just an independent attorney?
Yes, I'm a private attorney.
Private attorney?
Yes, I'm a member of the coalition as a citizen.
As a citizen, okay.
Yes.
So tell us, Bob, I mean, this organization, you don't hear much about it in the media at all. Okay, I said this is kind of the focus on business, but is this a real business? And if so, what kind of a business is it? And what do you guys have been doing the last 20 years?
Well, for the last 20 years, we've been very involved in making Fresno a better place and trying to, you know, like for instance, Eaton Plaza downtown, getting that developed into a park, you know, the heart of the city. And it, you know, twice they tried to put courthouses on there, once the federal courthouse and once a state courthouse. And we fought that and fought it, and we prevailed. And now they do have a partially built park down there at Eaton Plaza. It's supposed to have been all built by now, but that's the way things work in this city. Monies are appropriated to do things, and then all of a sudden they disappear into something else.
But what's your purpose?
Our
what
purpose
is your mission statement?
Our mission statement is to you know, work for the better of the community, for the people in the community, to see that government runs properly, and that they expose to the people everything they're doing, and they're just basically honest with the people, and not with just a few people, but all the people.
Right. Well, what have you been doing the last 10 or 15 years? Because government hasn't been running as it should, in a lot of people's opinion. Mm-hmm. So, Linda, what has the organization been doing to try? I mean, you've had Measure G on the ballot. You've had the water rates go up and then come back down because of Doug Vagum. So, where's the coalition been all this time? And what have you guys been doing?
The Downtown Fresno Coalition is focused on the responsible revitalization of downtown through use of Eaton Plaza as a park and maintaining Fulton Mall as a pedestrian-only urban park. Mm-hmm. That's the coalition. 1,000 Friends of Fresno, I believe, has been trying to increase public knowledge about what's happening, access to information for the public, notification, encouragement of people to get involved in the community, and that type of thing.
But what do you do to try to encourage people, and what do you do to try to keep these politicians on the straight and narrow? Well, that's what I don't understand. How do you encourage membership, and how do you make sure City Hall is doing the right thing?
Okay, well, we do the things that we do and work on them. Unfortunately, we don't, and I'll be honest about it. When we're doing something that goes against certain people in town, then the press or the newspapers won't cover it. And that's flat out honesty. And so what we're trying to do is get things, because of the influential, basically advertisers, the people that advertise in those mediums. And so, and I've been told, I won't mention names, I've been told by various reporters and stuff that they're not allowed to write about certain people, certain things. I mean, this goes back to, I think, communist Russia, the way we're running this town right now. But through programs like yours, and we just keep working and working and working to get stuff out. We have our own website, and that's available. And we have been successful, believe it or not. Now, there's another item, too, is the convention center downtown. We actually had a lawsuit against them building it where they built it. And because it was supposed to have been built over adjacent to the old exhibit hall there, so and then have a parking garage next to it, that they would all incorporate within each other. Now, the city had two different experts come from the east who said, and you can look at how, I've got the articles out of it, and that was in the Bee. Both experts said, we agree with 1,000 Friends of Fresno that this will be a disaster, basically, if you put it where you're planning on putting it, that it won't work, and they had various reasons why. So it begs the question, why does the city pay for people like that to come here who tell them the truth and then they just disregard them? That's the same thing with the mall downtown.
Right. But before we get into that, I want to
Okay.
ask you, it doesn't seem like this organization has had that much of an impact on making change, though. That's the thing.
Well-
Linda, do you want to pick up on that?
Well, first, change is slow, and it's because it's slow.
Give me one project you've had an impact on.
Oh, Eaton Plaza and the Eaton Plaza master plan.
Explain
that was
that
after
in
years,
case people are not familiar.
I believe in the 40s or 50s.
47.
47.
Well, here's the
Eaton-
gist of it, just real quick, in case people don't know. Eaton Plaza, downtown, heart of downtown. They wanted to build a couple of courthouses there, right?
Right.
Back in the mid to late 90s,
Right.
something like that. And your organization was able to stop it. How, Linda?
Through contact with public officials, representatives, and getting people together, letters to the editor that did get printed, and constantly talking to people, telling them this is the wrong idea, the wrong thing to do. And it eventually wound up with the planning of the master plan, which was at that time, under that city administration, that was a true public outreach. And it was truly handled well. And it wound up with a master plan adopted by city council.
And the mayor at that time was Jim Patterson?
Was it Patterson or
It was Jim
Autry?
Autry, I think.
No, it was Patterson in the mid to late 90s. And then Autry came in about 2000 or so.
Well, it was an overlap, but it really was,
It was an overlap.
Yeah,
because it was
okay.
going on
yeah.
during that time.
But
Okay.
I will say that public process was one of the best I've seen.
So you were able to stop it via the court system, or how? Or through public
Yes,
opinion?
well, both of them had to have approval of the California government and the federal government. The state courthouse had to have approval of the real estate people up in Sacramento, and the federal had to have approval, the federal courthouse approval of the federal department, and for that. And both of them, by us getting them the information, the proper information, the truth, not giving them a line. They both came out and said, at different times, of course. First, it was the federals came out and said, you can't have the federal was first, I believe. They said that is not an appropriate place to put the federal courthouse. And then the state real estate department came in and said that is not an appropriate place to put the state courthouse, and they had the control over that. So that basically, so going to the people, going to the government, who everybody says doesn't do their job, but guess what? They do their job. They're the workers. And so...
Yeah.
And that's part of the activity, is contacting people, complaining, telling officials when something is wrong.
Right. Okay. We're talking with Linda Zachritz and attorney Bob Dwyer, the chairman of 1,000 Friends of Fresno. They're here to explain their business and what they do. And we'll focus, of course, a little bit on Fulton Mall. They have a problem with the redoing of Fulton Mall. They're going to open that up to cars again. There's a hearing coming up in court on Friday, this coming Friday, to talk about the environmental impact report. We'll talk about that. Your chance to vent here on the program, 436-ME-TV option 11. Phone lines are open. Back in just a moment.
Considering solar? Whether you're ready to buy now or just exploring your options, the consultants at Solar Negotiators are here to help you. A call to Solar Negotiators is like calling 5 solar companies at once. You see, when local established solar contractors have gaps in their schedule, they call Solar Negotiators to fill them. Right now, get 5 years of panel cleaning and maintenance or $1,000 off your new solar panels. So stop wasting your time searching and call Solar Negotiators, because when contractors compete for your business, you win.
Back here on the program, Comcast 187, 43.6, and now 13.1. And so we're talking about changes that need to take place in the world of politics at downtown Fresno. We've got an attorney in the house here, Linda Zachritz and Bob Dwyer, 1,000 Friends of Fresno. How many people out there have heard of the 1,000 Friends of Fresno? It is a non-profit organization. It is a 501c3. By the way, should we just for the sake of argument, let's put up that disclaimer right now, because it is the focus on business. It is a 501c3 business. We just want to say that we ask them to come in of their own free will. They are not paying us. We're not paying them. We try to focus on a local business here in the Fresno area, the Central Valley, each and every Tuesday when we can. And this is a nonprofit. We have several nonprofits that do come in. This is a first-time appearance on this program for the 1,000 Friends of Fresno. Okay, so the mission statement is to try to keep the politicians on the straight and narrow. But aside from Eaton Plaza, I've been in Fresno since 1996. I can't think of any other issue that you've had a major impact on.
Well, Eaton Plaza is a major impact, and that took many years and a lot of, information, getting information out, going to the federal government, the state government, and getting the truth to them, because they get, what the developers or whoever want these projects. That's the information they get, and if there's not a organization that will go to them with the truth. And fortunately, they are wonderful about listening to the truth.
But it takes time, it takes money, it takes effort to approach these various government agencies. Caller, you're on the air. Go ahead.
I think we should be grateful that we have a voice of reason in the wilderness, that there's somebody out there that's going to stand up to government railroading techniques to try to get these projects pushed through without ever clearing them through the people that are going to be mostly impacted by it, the citizenry in the neighborhoods, the citizenry in the towns that are going to be affected. And I think that we should take a long look at the 1,000 Friends of Fresno and give them 1,000 thanks, because by golly, if it wasn't for them, we would have had things in place like ill-fated and false-started projects. The one that comes to mind is the big hangar that was built out in the airport, and that thing got pushed through, the funding on that, and all the public funding that goes to harebrained schemes that somebody at City Hall or county government comes up with, and somehow they end up being built. At least there's a check valve in
caller,
the form of 1,000 Friends. Yes.
Caller, what's your question? That's what I want to know.
My question is, I know you're getting to the Fulton Mall. Turn down the sound, but I wanted to get some opinions from your guests about the meeting on Friday, and what's the best way, what's the strategy to have my voice heard if I am a proponent for maintaining Fulton the way it is.
Okay.
What's the best thing for me to do?
All right, go ahead.
You go ahead. I think you're the best.
Write an op-ed to the paper. Try writing. We haven't had great success with our supporters getting things printed, but write letters to the editor, send it in, and call your council people. As Mr. Malice mentioned, there is some indication of the cost of this project being higher than the council thought it was when they voted. Tell your council person, meet with them, talk to them about it, tell them that you don't approve of it.
Well, okay, let's put up a picture of Fulton Mall. Not that you've never seen Fulton Mall, you don't know what it looks like, but in its current state, that's what it looks like. And so, what's the purpose of keeping it like this?
Well, we're not for letting it sit like it is. We are for restoring it, and that was one of the options that was supposedly put forward by the city, to spend the money to restore the Fulton Mall. And when it came closer to the time for council to vote, that option was suddenly removed, so that it was only two options for a street.
I guess my question is, let me rephrase the question. Why don't you want Fulton Mall to be opened up to traffic the way it was prior to the 1960s?
Because it is a remarkable work of urban planning and an urban park in a poor, disadvantaged neighborhood. It's used heavily by people in the neighborhood. It's used as an urban park. They were not taken into account in making this decision. It is a work of landscape architecture that is by a master. There is nothing like it in the United States.
Well, and that's
It's
the
something
point.
to be proud of for Fresno.
Okay, but
not denigrated.
Your opponents say exactly right. Malls like these are a thing of the past across the state of California and across the nation. They don't generate prosperity. They don't generate money. They don't generate business. They don't generate revitalization. These are a thing of the past. We need to get rid of it and go back to the original.
I'd like to bring up something here about a study that was done. A traffic study was done for the city of Fresno here, and the copy I have here in front of me is the July of '07 copy, and it was called Downtown Transportation, pardon me, and Infrastructure Study. Pardon me. And anyway, they went through all this work. Of course, none of you have heard about it because whenever these studies are done and they come out with the wrong answer, that's the end of that study. But it was our money that paid for this study. And the recommendations from this company, Wilbur Smith, up north, who spent a lot of time here, and I've got this couple hundred-page, not a brochure, but a report they put out. And I think...
What's the recommendation?
To finalize their recommendations are that since Fulton Street is not a critical component of the traffic and transit circulation network, downtown transportation should not drive decisions on the mall's future. Economic development opportunities and cultural factors should be the principal determination of the mall's future configuration. Then efforts are needed immediately to freshen and otherwise upgrade the mall environment. These efforts include freshening of the streetscape, the urban design, upgrading wayfinding, improving lighting, provisions for an attractive and convenient public restroom, and installation of public art and other elements into the vacant storefront. Then the next point, strengthening of event scheduling on the mall. Then the next point, strengthening the visibility of the mall from major traffic cross streets.
Bob, I want to take this call here. Caller, you're on the air. Go ahead.
Hi, real quick, I just wanted to say one thing about the whole revitalization of that and everything down there, and even the rail and high-speed rail and stuff like that, that I'm for some of these things as long as they do them once they have the money, but the city seems to keep jumping into things and spending money that they don't have and then expecting all of us to pay for the stuff by upping our rates, our taxes and everything else. My question is, well, it's not really a question to them, but what about if they open this up, what are they going to do about the parking situation? Because seriously, the reason why I don't go downtown is because the parking situation really sucks. And, you have to pay for parking down there, and I know it's been brought up even on this show before about you pay for parking down there, but you can go to River Park and you can go to all these other places and you don't have to pay for parking.
I'd like
Yeah,
to
what about
that.
the parking situation specifically, Bob?
Okay, this report that this company from up north put out.
Right, but
they
try to
said-
answer her question.
I
about
am going to
okay,
right now.
All right.
Yeah. With their report, they say there is enough parking down there, surprisingly, but the major problem is there's no direction for where to find the parking, where to go. If you go to other cities, you see these parking lot signs, they tell you where the parking is, where to head to the parking. And this company, Wilbur Smith, found that to be one of the main things lacking in Fresno. It wasn't so much that there aren't a lot of parking places in downtown Fresno. Surprisingly, there are a lot, but no one knows how to get to them. They don't know what they're for, and it's just a poor job of directing the people. And so where we have thousands of parking places, they want to tear up this mall to put in, 50 or 60 parking places.
Can I comment, too, on the caller?
Yeah,
Go ahead.
Because she mentioned the price and not having to pay for parking up north. And she's correct. that if they put a street on the Fulton Mall, every indication we've seen is you're still going to have to pay for parking. That's not going to change. So the issue she had would remain
Who's
if
going to
they
want to
do
go
that.
down there?
That's a good question.
Yeah, but who's going down there now?
People who, they come and shop.
There's vagrancy down there.
There's vagrancy, but there are also shoppers. I mean, I'm sorry, they're there. Out there at noon, people are out there.
But the perception is it's not safe, especially at night.
That's actually, if somebody would go and look at the Fresno Police Department statistics, one of the safest places in Fresno is downtown Fresno. And they've got it worked out.
That's not the perception, though, around the city.
I know it. That's what I'm saying. That's
okay.
Exactly right.
Caller, you're on the air. Go ahead.
Hi, I grew up in Porterville, and when they were considering turning Main Street into a mall, they went around the country and did some checking, and they wound up making it a one-way street with storefront parking on both sides of the street, which actually you still get to park in front of your stores, you still get to walk downtown, and it seemed like a perfect solution, and it's still working.
Okay. Well, there you go.
I'm not saying, I'm sure there are other cities that have found other ways to make things work, and I understand that. But for Fresno, you already have the mall there. You have the most wonderful thing you could ever have in a city. One of the other points is...
Well, wait a minute, I'm going to challenge you on that. It's the most wonderful thing that you can have in any city. If you go down there at night, who's there? Is it really the center of attention in Fresno?
It could be.
Those people up north are not going downtown.
And they shouldn't. That's the big misconception is, oh, we're going to fix this up for people up north to come downtown. Well, guess what? This city is more than 50% other nationalities. They live closer to downtown. They use it. They put on festivals and things. There are merchants downtown on the mall who we would tear out their road, put them out of business for a year or whatever, and these are the people that have stayed there. All the decisions, unfortunately in this town, basically all the decisions are made by so-called white people, and they forget that this is a wonderful city that has many nationalities and races, and we never include them others in. Well, people are readily available to criticize them, but not to include them in, and that's one of the biggest problems.
Caller, go ahead. You're on the air.
Yes, I was listening right now. I was here in Fresno when it was Fulton Street before it became Fulton Mall. And back then, I remember there were many, many name stores there that we used to go shopping every weekend. So, believe it or not, I haven't been to the Fulton Mall in maybe some 25, 30 years.
Because?
Is it going to change? Well, they've got nothing that I'm interested in there. Mm-hmm. Are they going to put, the same kind of stores or something like the ones that they used to have before in the 60s?
I don't think so.
Because I live over here at River Park.
Okay, so you have no reason to go downtown.
Well, no, not unless, something different, some different stores are put up there. Like I said, I haven't been there like maybe some 25, 30 years.
All right, and you bring up a good point, and I want to emphasize that, and thank you for the call. The caller makes a great point, okay? She's going to go downtown. You know why? If there are businesses there that she's interested in. She isn't going to go there because there's a Fulton Mall there. Just a walking mall isn't going to attract anyone. What's going to attract a crowd and people are businesses, restaurants, shops. None of that has happened down there.
Well, I'd like to beg to differ.
Well, why? How is a Fulton Mall going to attract anybody, whether it's open or closed?
Well, it's going to attract them as an entertainment center. And
but to have entertainment, you need shops and restaurants. It's not just a walking mall.
That's exactly right. That's what you need, and you need to take care of it. They let it go, just go down the tubes.
I mean, if you want people to go,
the city is supposed to take care of it, and they didn't do it. So now you start losing,
Right.
But I don't know if you realize, look how successful the ice rink was down there. There are a lot of festivals put on down there by various ethnic groups, which are wonderful.
Right. Caller, go ahead.
Yes, there's been a lot of conversation on today's program about Fulton Mall and what we should do, and nobody's commented on the fact that between the parking and the street grid. This part of this town is not laid out on a graph grid. It goes every which way, and it makes flow very, very difficult and time-consuming, especially when your parking is chopped up in little bitty pieces and costs money, etc. And so it seems to me that that's a consideration that nobody's taken into the conversation. And another thing is, the big stores, the big money stores, didn't die out overnight. It was a gradual process because with the opening up of all of the new shopping centers on the outlying edges of town, the middle income and the more affluent people had no reason to come down to this area and fight all the problems, and therefore the stores that needed their custom died out and moved.
Yeah,
And
good point.
I don't see how you're going to fix the problem just by opening a new street and destroying the park and the art and the scenery of downtown Fresno.
Do you go down to Fulton Mall?
I used to go to Fulton Mall all the time simply because I worked downtown.
Right, so you don't go to Fulton Mall, that's the answer.
Oh, I don't have my own transportation anymore, so I don't go anywhere.
No, but I'm saying even if you did, you wouldn't go to Fulton Mall, I'm assuming, right?
No, there's nothing there I personally need.
Right. And not only that, caller, you bring up a great point, because not only are you talking about all these, the malls, Fashion Fair and all the rest, but you're talking about big box stores. You're talking about Costco or maybe a place like Walmart or Target. You're not seeing those stores downtown. You're seeing the mom and pop shops downtown that people are not interested in going to. Am I right?
Well, it was the big department stores that were the major business of older downtown Fresno,
Right.
before Fulton Mall.
Like wine stocks and all those kinds of stores, right?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
And when they started losing business, they started looking for ways to improve that. And one of the reasons they started losing business is because the street grid is not straight and square. It's a little corner here and a little edge there and an angle somewhere else, and that does not is not conducive to a straight flow of traffic for convenience. Every day, every shopper nowadays wants convenience. Quick, hurry.
Okay.
It's not laid out for that.
Yeah.
She makes two.
Are you going to go in and change the whole town, every street of the whole town? You're not going to. What they're doing, they're suggesting now, doesn't seem to me it's going to correct the problem without that.
Thank you, caller. Go ahead quickly.
She does make two good points. One, the street grid, Fulton goes nowhere. It runs into the freeway at Santa Clara. So it's not like it's a cross-town street. It comes up around Belmont and ends at Santa Clara. So that's one thing to keep in mind. And then the other point is Fresno, especially by some political people and others, is the mall has been scapegoated for bad planning by the city of Fresno over a number of years. Manchester Center, Fashion Fair, all those things, that was a policy, that was decentralization. The mall was built under a policy of centralization. And after the mall was constructed, the political people, the so-called leaders, decided, no, we're going to decentralize. So we're going to have developers building all over Fresno. That led to the demise of downtown Fresno, not the mall.
Right. So they kind of shot down their own plan to centralize Fresno by revitalizing downtown by building outward.
Exactly.
Okay. All right, good
That's
point.
why downtown has to be something different than a big store shopping area. Now this...
Well, we got to go to break, Bob. Linda Zachritz is here along with Bob Dwyer, the chairman of the 1,000 Friends of Fresno. Back with your phone calls, 436-ME-TV, option 11, in a moment.
Frigidaire. We introduced the first home freezer, the first pulsator agitator washer, and now we introduce the Frigidaire Orbit Clean dishwasher, designed with a unique wash arm that gives you 4 times more water coverage for a consistently better clean. Frigidaire, over 90 years of legendary innovation.
See the full line of Frigidaire appliances at Ventura TV Electronics and Appliances.
We're back here on the program talking about 1,000 Friends of Fresno and their mission, their plight against Fulton Mall. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Hello, good morning.
Hello. What's your comment or question? Are you frustrated about something? This is your chance to vent. Okay, caller, go ahead.
Yes, I was here before Fulton Mall was, before Fulton Street was turned into Fulton Mall. And then I moved away and moved to San Diego for 30 years and came back in 2001 and almost cried because of the condition of the downtown. Number one, that big tree that used to be, that sits on top of the bank building downtown, Guarantee.
Yeah.
It's no longer there, and I'm wondering, is there anybody who's responsible for that? And it's a landmark. It's the first thing that you see when you come into Fresno off of 99 is that landmark G. But it's inoperational now. And I would further like to say, what good is it going to be doing with something that hasn't been ineffective in the last 20 years? I've seen businesses go in and businesses go out. And also, I have something to say about the Chomsky ballpark that we have. Why would they build a ballpark when they didn't have anything for the people to do after the game was over?
Well, that's true. Okay, those are two good points. I appreciate the call very much. So, that's the thing. What's the first thing you see when you see downtown Fresno? What's the first thing when you come off the freeway and you see downtown Fresno? What is the first thing your eye catches?
A lot of it is just trash. I mean, it's not well taken care of as far blight, yeah. Blight, which a lot of it could be taken care of just by, better landscaping, cleaning up.
And doesn't blight dominate the landscape in downtown Fresno?
Coming from the outside, it does, if you're coming from the outside. And these are the things that have to be worked on.
But once you get inside, doesn't blight continue?
Oh, there is, and we're not saying there's not.
There's blight in and around the Fulton Mall.
Yeah, there's blight out on Shaw and Herndon too. There are a lot
of course
there's a lot
there
of
is.
vacant office buildings out there.
But it seems to be more concentrated in the downtown area for some reason. A lot of vacant buildings. It's not. Downtown isn't what it used to be. And it's pretty much like urban America, the rest of urban America. That's what Fresno has become, an urban city. Mm-hmm. All right, caller, go ahead. You're on the air. Or suburban. I meant suburban, not urban. Mm-hmm. Go ahead, caller.
Yes, I've lived most of my life in Fresno, but I'm originally from the Bay Area, and my parents had a business. We actually moved to Fresno. And they had a business downtown off of Tulare. And as a little girl, I always remember, going to some of the locations where they had, the restaurants all in one place off of Tulare. They had, places that you could go. But when I was in the Bay Area, we would always go downtown San Francisco. They had Italian section, they had the Chinese section, they had, different ways, and as a family we would go down there and just go down and eat and spend the day and shop, and that's what we did when we moved to Fresno in the 60s. But, there's like, you don't know where to go downtown, you don't know what's downtown. If they marketed it, to how it was in San Francisco, I think people are interested in all the cultures and just the variety and, exercising and just getting out. We have beautiful evenings and days in Fresno, and I'm just surprised that, that they don't market, and that will bring more people that would come and eat down there and do the activities. I actually went down there and ice skated. But, you know, I think a lot of people just don't really, there's no marketing to say, you know, come back to Fresno and bring the restaurants and maybe have a different nationality organized downtown.
Yeah. Hey, caller, great call. I appreciate it very much. And more evidence as to how Fresno has become like the rest of America. It's become suburban rather than urban. If you go to a ball game at Chachansey Park right there, you're looking at it from the air. If you want to go out to dinner after the game, where are you going to go? You're more than likely going to go to River Park because you can eat somewhere after the game. There's a place to park. It's free. They have shops. They have restaurants. You're not going to go to downtown Fresno. Downtown Fresno is pretty much a dead area at night, is it not?
Well, there are things going on down there, but there needs to be a coordinated effort to make it the place to go, and that can be done. It's been done in other cities, and in fact, most cities are starting to come back to downtown.
They've been talking about revitalizing downtown Fresno since I've been in Fresno, and that's since 1996, and it still is not revitalized.
Oh.
They said the stadium was going to revitalize it. It hasn't happened.
Well, what you have to remember, there was a thing called the revitalization, or what's the name? I'm trying to think of. That they got.
Well, we got a call here. Let's take
okay.
this call real quick. Good morning, caller. You're on the air. Go ahead.
Yeah, in defense of your guest, there really are places to eat downtown. You have to be creative, and you really needed to know about it. Out of towner wouldn't necessarily know, but there's restaurants open down there. Unfortunately, the Hofbrau is no longer there, and we can also thank Ed Cashin for not keeping farmers market that it was a hub in downtown Fresno where you could get a dozen different types of ethnic food. That was raised about 15 years ago to make room for an unsuccessful Office Depot, or is it Office Max?
Yeah,
right
yeah,
at the junction of the freeway.
Caller, let me interrupt. Name me one place downtown you're going to go eat after the game. Give me one place.
There's a small Plaza Ventana right there on Van Ness. There's also a couple of coffee shops that are open on the fringe. Downtown Fresno, you forget about Peeves Public House. You'd be surprised how many people show up on a weekday down there. They're not serving food yet, or they might be serving food now, but you can get a draft there, and you can also socialize with people that are living in the mixed-use urban development.
Yeah, but how difficult is it to park downtown? How difficult is it to get down there? If you go to River Park, easy parking, easy in, easy out. You don't have to pay for it. You're right there, and boom, when you're done, you're out of there. Downtown.
That's true.
Downtown.
That's true, but
you heard our previous one of our previous callers say people want convenience in this day and age. They want quick in and quick out.
That's one faction. I wouldn't necessarily group everybody together. There are people who are looking for a unique experience, something that's only you can find in Fresno. One of those things, of course, was the farmers market downtown. But my point is, yeah, if you want to find parking,
go ahead.
You want to find parking, you can find parking. There is parking available. It may not be right where you want to park, but hey, you might be willing to sacrifice that to get a unique Fresno experience. Or maybe a cultural festival going on down there or whatever.
All right, we got to go. We got to go. Thank you. I appreciate it. So, Linda, tell me about this. Okay, here's the thing. Fulton Mall. According to Doug Vagum, there is a 5-year capital budget program or plan. It's the individual line items that he's worried about. There's about $43 million of capital, not operational costs, but capital that's going to go into the rebuilding of Fulton Mall. 23 million of that is city money, according to Doug Vagum, because of the earmarks that he was able to discover by looking, at the budget. And so, is this an outrage for you?
Well, yes, it's certainly a shock because it is not what was represented when the city council voted on this issue.
What was represented? Is
that the mayor got this grant from the federal government, and that was going to do it all. And there was enough money to do everything with this bit of money. And now we're seeing that it's more than twice as much. and that if, according to what Doug Vagum is saying, the city's on the hook for the other part of it. One of the things that, if I recall correctly, council people referred to at that meeting in voting for the mayor's plan was, well, you came up with the money and it's not city money. Well, according to what we're hearing from Doug Vagum, it is city money. And I don't think the council knew that at the time.
What's happening Friday at the hearing? There's a court hearing in Superior Court?
In Superior Court.
What's happening?
And it is based on our request for the judge to vacate the certification of the EIR for the Fulton Mall.
EIR meaning the
Environmental Impact Report. And they also amended the general plan to allow Fulton to be turned into a street and to vacate all of those orders that the city council took in February.
So is this hearing going to determine one way or the other whether or not the plan can move forward?
Yes, because yes.
It will. So a judge will decide that.
Yes.
This Friday?
Yes.
Caller, you're on the air. Caller?
Hello?
Caller, you're on the
Yes.
air. Quickly.
Thank you. I need to know how to get a hold of this 1,000 Friends of Fresno. Their phone number. I don't have a computer, so I couldn't
Okay.
go into their.
All right. Do you have a
phone number?
Yeah. Do you have a pencil handy?
Yes.
Okay. Go ahead, Bob.
Okay. If they you call 291-2261. Now that's my CPA practice. We answer the phone calls through there, and we have people there that part of 1,000 Friends. So that is where you call, and we can send you literature. We can
say that number again.
Okay, 291-2261.
Perfect.
And ask for Diana. If you ask for Diana. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Thank you so
Okay.
Oh,
thank you,
thank
caller.
you for
All right,
your interest.
here's the question I got for you, Bob. 1,000 Friends of Fresno. I mean, can't you make it 2,000? Can't you make it 3,000? Can't you make it 10,000? 1,000 people, it's difficult to have an impact or make an impact on an issue or make headway on an issue with just 1,000 people, and you're not getting publicity on top of it. And where were you outraged about Measure G?
Well, I personally was, but I knew that.
Well, where were you guys then?
I
never even heard of you guys then.
No. Well,
No.
you know, there's only so
Where
much.
were you guys
we
on
can
the
do.
water rates?
But there's only we know what Doug Vagum was doing. We're supporting Doug Vagum, and he got it through. Okay.
It's only so much one
that's
person.
that's right.
Well, you don't have one person. You
No,
got 1,000.
there's only so
Well,
You've got 1,000.
I would like to address
Where-
that 1,000. Okay,
All right,
if
go
you
ahead.
go online and look for the number of groups in the United States that are
Yes.
called the 1,000 Friends of Charlotte, the 1,000 Friends of Tallahassee.
York.
That is a moniker or something that is used for groups.
Well,
that
how many
are,
people do you have in the group then?
Over 1,000.
There's over 1,000.
But we don't want to call it.
Why? How do you join? What do you do?
Okay, well, like she asked for the phone number, that's your best way.
Okay.
Or go on our website. We have a website. I'm sorry.
The Downtown Fresno Coalition meets the second Thursday of every month at the Fresno Arts Council at 11 a.m.
That would be wonderful.
Now,
to
what
have-
is the
Come to a
Downtown
meeting.
Coalition?
The Downtown Fresno Coalition is a group of citizens committed to responsible revitalization of downtown.
Is
And
it 1,000?
our focus is Fulton Mall and Eaton Plaza.
It's more than 1,000 because it is part of the 1,000 Friends of Fresno.
So the Fresno Downtown Coalition is a separate group similar to yours, but with the same plight, the same goals,
Yeah,
the same
and
aspirations.
It's a subdivision of the 1,000 Friends of
we're
Fresno.
under
It's,
the wing of.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Now, are you guiding him in terms of, legally speaking, from a legal standpoint, or?
Personally, no. Our
Oh,
attorney
okay.
guides us on that.
Okay.
And we're very careful.
All right.
Yeah.
Got to go to
Okay.
break. Got to go to break. Linda Zachritz is here. She's an attorney. She's here with Bob Dwyer, who is the chairman of the 1,000 Friends of Fresno. It should be 10,000 or 20,000. Anyway, if you want to join, the number is what? 291-2261. 2261. Back in just a moment.
The consultants at Solar Negotiators Negotiators are here to help you. A call to Solar Negotiators is like calling 5 solar companies at once. You see, when local established solar contractors have gaps in their schedule, they call Solar Negotiators to fill them. Right now, get 5 years of panel cleaning and maintenance or $1,000 off your new solar panels. So stop wasting your time searching and call Solar Negotiators, because when contractors compete for your business, you win.
It's Sully and Russ on the Big Biz Show. It's your biz.
And maybe they'll start listening to Baldwin McCullough.
Now, before you make any money moves, check in with the Brain Trust.
And you are starting your week off right.
Back here on the program talking with 1,000 Friends of Fresno, including an attorney. She's part of it. And Linda, let me ask you, and I want a quick answer to this because I want to move on to something else. Why are you against the revitalization of, or the rebuilding of Fulton Mall? Give me one good reason.
Because it is worthy for registration on the National Register of Historic Places. It is a remarkable art gallery of world-class art, the likes of which you're not going to find probably elsewhere in California for public art. And it is in itself a work of art. And my office is on the mall, and I walk on it every day.
A couple of other issues here I want to get to, Bob, because we spent a lot of time on the Fulton Mall. We've got a lot of calls. 436-ME-TV, option 11, about 10 minutes left here, so call in. There is an open line if you want to chime in here. The question about the ballpark. And we've seen pictures of the ballpark so many times. We know what the ballpark looks like. Okay, there are those who say, former Mayor Jim Patterson, for example, Ken Stites, he's a former city councilman, totally against the building of the downtown baseball stadium at its current state. They said it was too big, too costly. They weren't going to draw. The stadium alone isn't going to revitalize downtown. You need to build some things, such as restaurants, shops that will attract people downtown. What's your take on the stadium and where we stand today, 10, 11, 12, 13 years later?
Well, I think the stadium is a wonderful thing, actually. But in the beginning, what happened is the advertising out was the stadium was going to cost, I think it was $12 million. I can't remember the figures exactly.
$50 million now, of course.
Yeah. And it's like everything else. All of a sudden, it ended up being, like you say, $50 million. And the taxpayers pick up the tab, just like they wanted to pick up the tab on tearing out the mall. So, if the ballpark had been built right, and if they wanted to add on to it later, they could. But if it had been built right, that would have left a lot of money to develop around the area. And one thing that's very important about this whole thing downtown, there used to be something called redevelopment. And redevelopment funds, we all paid redevelopment funds. And there were certain builders that took a big advantage of them, not only Fresno, all over the country. And so when Governor Brown fought it and got rid of redevelopment, all of a sudden these people, certain individuals that are down here and everyone is praising, all of a sudden they're up a creek because they can't get the government's money or our money anymore to build these things. Everyone thinks that these certain individuals built all these things down here. It did not happen.
Gone.
And that's a great thing.
Okay, let's end it on that point. But here, back to the ballpark, and you think this ballpark is too big and too costly? And if so, what should we do now?
Well, it's too late about the too big and too costly, obviously.
Yeah, but I want to know what you think we should do now.
People, but now what you should do is get the Fulton Mall back into what it should be. Get, like you say, get the people, realizing they want to come downtown and enjoy a nice meal and go to the ball game. But also get the people that live downtown in this other area, that other over 50% of the people, who are now starting to go to ball games and things like that, and promote to them. I mean, I'm tired of hearing the people north of Shaw.
Let's take a call here. Good morning, caller. Go ahead.
Good morning. I'd like to ask a question. I think most of the people that that go to the games and whatnot. The beginning, when the stadiums first opened up, it was more of a family-oriented, and people wanted to come. But as time went on, a lot of them realized that they were having problems, issues with a lot of no protection from the police, and I blame the city council, along with the mayor, not be involved with the owners and who takes care of the stadium to see what the problem is. They're trying to get everything to be built the way it was 30, 40 years ago, which was a nice mall to go to, but politics is taking too much over what the stadium, and I know they owe a lot of money or whatever, and I don't blame them going to Sacramento, and I assume by what the paper says that the Astros are coming here, and it's not going to be the Grizzlies, and that's an issue I don't know for sure, but I wish it would have been more built for family, where the kids can go and enjoy baseball. It was a great stadium when they first started out, so I don't want to take too much more time, but I think the city council has to get involved more.
Okay, that's a great point. Good call from that gentleman there, because the San Francisco Giants basically told the mayor of Fresno, hey, the baseball stadium, you got an owner that's got financial problems. They can't pay the rent. The rent's been reduced to $750,000 a year. They still can't even pay that. On top of everything else, you've got this aging stadium now that needs upgrades. On top of that, the stadium itself lacks security inside and out. People are afraid to go down there. They're not drawing, and so those are just some of the reasons why the Giants pulled their affiliation out of Fresno and into Sacramento. So those things have to be addressed. Would you not agree, Linda?
Oh, I agree, and especially the point about the aging stadium and the upgrades that were needed, and evidently there was some mention of lack of maintenance for the last 12 years. I was surprised at that. I didn't know that was the case.
Well, why did the mayor need to hear it from the Giants? Doesn't she know that automatically?
Well, she should, certainly. She claims to be the chief executive.
Right.
She should know these things and should be taking care of these things instead of wanting to build something all shiny new every time. You have to sweep your floor. You have to keep it clean. Maintenance isn't a real attractive thing, but it needs to be done.
Here's the other thing. I don't mean to interrupt, but here's the other thing. I disagree with you, Bob. You can't ignore North Fresno. You need the entire city to support downtown, not just a small segment of society. And if those people up north aren't going to come downtown, it's not going to work. It's not going to work financially.
Well, see, I could disagree on that. When over 50% of the people in Fresno now are what we used to call the minority, and they're the ones that live around down here. They're the ones that put on the wonderful events.
Do they have the money to spend to go down there?
And oh yeah, they have the money.
Okay.
And don't get me wrong, I'd love to have the people north of town going, but don't. But
just
you have
to include the whole city.
Oh yeah, that's what I'm not saying to disregard them at all.
Yeah.
I don't think Bob means to sound exclusive.
To exclude North Fresno?
To exclude North Fresno, but I think what he's mentioning is a little bit of realism, that when people who live in North Fresno go home after a day's work, take care of their family, the odds of them coming back downtown to have dinner are slim and none, yes.
Yeah, and they don't want to hassle with parking or anything else.
It's not that they're not wanted, it's just being realistic.
Yeah, okay. Got to go. We're out of time. Okay. Bob Dwyer, come back again, sir.
Sure.
Good to see you. Thank you for your time. Linda, good to see you.
Thank you.
All right. 1,000 Friends of Fresno here on the program on Connect with Me. We're back with another edition of this segment in this program tomorrow. Have a great day.